1861, the Confederate States of America faced significant challenges in unifying their newly formed nation. Political strife and social unrest threatened to tear apart this fragile confederation.
Gentlemen, we face grave challenges in uniting our states against northern aggression. Our Constitution emphasizes state sovereignty and protects our peculiar institution. But this very emphasis may threaten our ability to act as a unified nation.
Mr. President, while we cherish our rights, we must recognize that our survival depends on cooperation.
This state sovereignty is hampering our war effort. We need a stronger central authority to coordinate our military actions.
The Confederate Constitution presented several contradictions. While it was founded on the principle of secession, it did not explicitly guarantee a right to secede from the Confederacy itself, leading to debates about whether states could withdraw from this new union.
Our Constitution lacks clarity on essential issues. This ambiguity undermines our unity.
A necessary sacrifice for our independence, gentlemen, but I admit it hampers our war effort.
Alexander Stephen, the Confederate Vice President, would voice his opposition to President Davis's newly passed conscription laws in a speech to Georgia's legislature. He even publicly supported Georgia Governor Joseph Brown in his public feud with the president.
This whole system of conscription I have looked upon from the beginning as wrong. Radically wrong in principle and policy. Contrary opinions, however, prevailed. But whatever differences of opinions may have been entertained as to the constitutionality of the previous conscript acts, it seems clear to my mind that a little difference exists as to the unconstitutionality of this late act. I also stand against the suspension of habeas corpus, violating the basic rights of what makes us a true man.
The Conscription Acts sparked widespread resentment among soldiers and civilians alike. The 20 Negro Law, which exempted one white overseer for every 20 enslaved people on a plantation, was particularly controversial. It was later lowered to 15 slaves. This government document was from a Confederate private who applied for an exemption form from military service for owning 15 able-bodied slaves.
This law only benefits wealthy plantation owners. It's no wonder our soldiers are saying, rich man's war, poor man's fight.
This cartoon highlights the rich man's war, poor man's fight in the South. A plantation owner instructs his son to go to war, declaring he can't spare his valuable slave because he's worth too much and might get shot.
Speaking of cotton, our cotton embargo on Europe isn't working as well as planned. The Union blockade is too effective and is strangling our own economy.
The Confederate economy was indeed in shambles. Rampant money printing and inflation plagued the nation, reaching well over 5,000% by the end of the war.
Our currency is becoming worthless. How can we sustain our war effort?
We must persevere. Our king got on diplomacy on the European nations will surely force an intervention on our side. We just have to wait. Otherwise, their economies will crumble.
In 1863, southern cities erupted in what became known as the Bread Riots. Working-class women, desperate for food and supplies, looted shops and warehouses.
There's a bread riot in the capital, Richmond. It exposes growing class tensions in our society. The image of a unified southern war effort is crumbling. We have had to deploy our own soldiers against our own citizens in order to keep law and order. That is unacceptable.
We must suppress news of these disturbances and increase food distribution efforts.
Mr. President, your micromanagement and reluctance to remove ineffective commanders are hurting our cause. Johnston, one of the principal commanders of the victorious First Battle of Manassas, has publicly accused you of having tarnished my fair name and as a soldier and a man.
And your imposition of taxes and marital laws flies in the face of our commitment to states' rights.
These measures are necessary for our survival, and I stand by these measures.